Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, I'll be briefly discussing some thoughts on episode 4 of the anime series Akuno Hana, or The Flowers of Evil. And there's some really interesting stuff that goes on in this episode with the main character, Kasuga, and these two girls, that are on polar opposite sides, both vying for his attention. Now, one is the crush that he has. He's head over heels in love with Seiki. And then you have, of course, Nakamura, who seems to be the bane of all evil. And basically, she is a malevolent force. And I thought it was very interesting that this is embodied on a Sunday of all days, toward the end of the episode, with Seiki essentially wearing the purity of white, and then you have, of course, Nakamura wearing all black. And so I have to wonder, though, because sometimes when you go into stories like this, there are misdirected things like this, misdirected themes and so forth, whether or not we're going to find out, that there's more to it with these two girls in Kasuga's life. But, he's feeling pretty much on top of the world after he stands up for Nakamura when basically a couple girls in class try to blame her for the stolen lunch money, and he stands up for her. He's then approached by Seiki, this girl that he has such a tremendous, obsession with, and she compliments him, and then she goes to, that much further the next day in school by going right up to him saying good morning while the rest of the class is sharing whispers and laughs about he and Nakamura, like how similar they are, that they're closed off and they're distanced and everything. Even his buddy who sits next to him is kind of giving him the cold shoulder. So it's interesting in and of itself. Of course, he ends up leaving a little later on that day, sees Seiki having to bring out these big heavy boxes to a storage area, and so naturally, he asks if he can help. And they get to know each other a little bit. They start talking about what they do after school. He brings up the bookstore and ends up very shocked to me. Basically he says, would you like to go with me? Because she seems interested. And she talks about not being able to get out after school with friends that often and stuff. And so I'm thinking, yeah, when is this going to be ruined? About 3 seconds later, when he drops the books down the steps, and there's Nakamura looking up, gets that evil ear-to-ear grin, sets up an appointment about a half an hour before his date on that following Sunday outside the school or whatever, or a park, I forget where it was that they were meeting, and makes him bring the gym clothes. He's put these clothes away. He's promised himself he wasn't never going to take them out again, and he felt absolved from this sin that he felt he created by stealing them in the first place when he was complimented by Seiki. So basically, Nakamura's plan is to make him wear it, torture him, and as she puts it, tear down the walls of the deviant she knows him to be, the protective walls that keeps that deviance inside, because she wants to watch the place burn, and she wants to watch someone do it. And so it's very interesting, of course. By the end of it, they're going on their date, and Nakamura is watching, and she's probably going to follow them. I can't wait to see what happens next, though, because it's just such an interesting, feeling to this series. The story overall, it gets right into your mind and cuts right to your heart. If you've ever been in school and felt awkward or felt outcast, not really had a lot of friends, I think it's a bit more built up in this series, but you kind of get that sense. You can kind of relate to that. And it's definitely in an extreme sense anyway. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 4 of Akuno Hana, if you've seen it, and otherwise what you expect for the future of the series, how closely it relates to the manga. I want to basically stay away from the manga until after the series is over, but I'm going to be delving into that sucker for sure. And otherwise, that'll be from me. So I'll catch you later. Peace.